Hey, you guys, this is Shelly Hollis from the Black Corner. I'm sitting here with one of my favorite coaches, man. And before I get started, congratulations on the new facility, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, my man. Appreciate you.
Main reason we're out here today, it is fucking fight week. Irvin has a big ass fight. Let me tell you, when I first seen this and Toscano came at me, I looked at it, I looked at the box rec, and I was like, okay, the only thing that stood out was this dude has a shitload of experience.
Yeah.
At one point, as a coach, as a mentor, as someone guiding the fighter, because you ultimately, too, are responsible for their career, even though they do get to choose their fights, when do you look at a situation like this and be like, you know what, fuck that, we taking the next step, let's do it?
Okay, so it's even though as a manager and as a coach you have certain goals and you have a vision for your fighter, you always have to be able to adapt, right? Because there's always going to be situations where you're going to have to take certain fights and make certain things happen, or else you're not going to fight, right? For one, Irvin's weight class, 122 pounds, it's not a very popular weight class out here right now. So we're kind of like in the same pool of fighters, and a lot of fighters are starting to get to know who Irvin is, and a lot of them didn't want to fight. You know, we heard he's too strong. Oh, no, I'm not taking that fight. Oh, no, I need more time for that fight. Like, you know, so we have to respect that because Irvin's earning that, right? So now it's going to be his first 6-round fight. So now we're going to have to step up the competition a little bit more. That comes with it. But then you still got to be careful because, you know, as you're building up a fighter, you want to get him the right fight so that he builds up properly. You don't want to, you know, move him up too soon, right, if you don't have to, right? So this guy right here, he has a lot of experience. So that always makes you a little bit nervous because a guy with a lot of experience and with that many losses, he doesn't give a fuck to lose anymore.
Exactly.
He doesn't have that, oh, I'm about to lose, and that panic. And I've seen him fight. He's going to stand in front of you the whole time. He has no fear.
Right.
That's exactly what we need right now for Irvin. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Irvin has a lot of skill that he hasn't been able to show. Because the guys, they'll break a little bit, right? Or they're not on his level mentally, right? So now we have a guy that's tough, that's going to be in front of us, and he's going to want to fight. So Irvin's going to be able to showcase his boxing ability, his counter-punching ability, his beautiful up and down combination. You're going to see a lot from Irvin in this fight. And this is the best camp he's ever had. This is the best I've ever seen him. He's stronger, faster, way smarter, quick reflexes, very relaxed. Like things start to come together. You know, as you start as your fighter starts to fight, there's going to be certain times where he just levels up. It just happens, right? So, 2 reasons. I took the fight because I know we can beat the guy. Is it going to be a tough fight? Yes. I know what I got, though.
Right.
Irvin got a lot of character. He got a lot of grit. He got chin. He got balls. And he got a lot of talent. So we're going to go against a guy with balls, but we got balls, too, and we got talent on top of that. So this is going to be a really good fight for us, and especially for the fans.
Dude, great fucking fight. And then, like, the first thing you just said is, like, that 122 division. It's tough. But, dude, one of the biggest fucking fights of the year is happening tomorrow. Well, actually, tonight, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
You got Inoue and you got Fulton at the same weight class
Great
that he's
fight.
in. So it's like you got bangers, and then you got shit like Bam and things like that. So it's like if he starts doing this, making these moves, and dominating these types of fights, man, you guys got a big-ass fucking horizon out there. Because like I said, right now, one of the biggest fights in the division is happening in Japan.
Exactly.
In the middle of the fucking night.
Exactly.
I ain't getting up at 5 a.m. to watch that shit, but I do got ESPN Plus. I'm about to run it back as soon as I can, man.
Because, we're watching it.
Well, see, I'm curious because it's like, you know, dude just went from 118, stepped up to 122. I know you big. You understand a lot about boxing.
Yes.
You live and breathe this shit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And one of the biggest things I like about this guy, too, is like when you come around here, this is pure, like, family environment. I know a lot of gyms say that shit, man, but I done been to your house before. I done see everybody I see in here, I done seen at your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I got a chance to sit with Irvin earlier this week, super focused. I never talked to him like I did earlier, but his backstory. And one thing I'm starting to notice about you is, like, you find people that kind of went through the same things you did in life, and you give them an opportunity to let them know, like, hey, there's other shit outside of what you already went through, man. Where does that come from inside of you?
So as far as finding them, I think that's more of God's work, right? I think since I was really young, I've always had the gift of gab, and I've always been able to be like the big brother, even though I was young. You know, a lot of my older homies would come to me for advice. It's just something that God's always blessed me with. Like just being able to give advice, being able to lead.
Okay.
Right? So I always knew that in my life, I was going to continue to do that. I just didn't know how because boxing's always been in my life, so I was 15 years old. But then I started to see that it was all packaged in one deal. Me being a trainer automatically goes with me being a mentor, a leader, being able to lead and help young talent believe in themselves, right? So Irvin, God sent to me because of that reason, because he needed me like I needed him. Just like Wade.
Right.
When Wade came to me, it was God. God did that for us.
And that's
you know
what I'm
I mean?
talking about, because one of the first fighters that I was introduced to through, because of you, is like Wade. And
Yep.
he had the same similar story that I heard before.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this
he was
dude,
like my son.
yeah,
Yeah.
you touch these people, they touch you, and you guys do something. But everybody I knew that you work with, like, you guys are fighting here in town. You guys are going back to Mexico. You even getting these guys international exposure
Yep.
already. And then one thing I've got to watch you grow from, you had a mishap with the other gym and it burnt down, but look where you're at now.
Yeah,
So
thank
even
God.
like that was unfortunate, but then God put you over here, and now you got a storefront, and I'm walking in and you got classes.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, when I'm sitting there watching all your shit online, especially through social media, man, like your young lady over there, the form and technique that come up out of this gym is something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you be hammering shit.
I'd be happy, man, sometimes, because I'm so used to seeing it. But every once in a while, when I'll record them and I post it, and and I just get really excited, like, especially, when I see Emily, because Emily was a really shy girl, still is kind of shy, but just like very to herself, and then to build her up to where she's at now. I'm just really proud of her, because I knew that she can get here, and we're just really getting started. But her confidence level, how good she is, how she goes out there and dominates. Her last fight, she got 3 standing 8 counts and stopped the girl, right? And she's had, I think, already 4 or 5 standing 8 counts already, right? And just 5 fights now, Emily, 4 fights. So it's for a coach, it's very rewarding, especially now because we don't get paid right now, right?
Right.
So it's not about the money, obviously. It's about the love that you have for sport and the love you have for the fighters. Because for me, like you said earlier, it has to be family, right? So, Sam, have been. So for me, it's I have to get along and vibe with the fighter before I give him my all, because that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. I'm gonna sacrifice a lot of my life and time for my fighter. Right? I'm going to go to battle for them. I'm going to get on certain managers and certain promoters' nerves, even though they love me, because they know what I'm looking for, and I get a little bit difficult sometimes.
Right.
So because my job is to protect my fighter, and I know the vision that I have for my fighter, so I give them my all. So I have to love them, right? So that's key, and that's where this comes from. The passion comes from love of the sport and love for the people that are in it with me, right? So it's one of those things where you have to enjoy the process. You have to love the mission to get there. I'm not even thinking about there. I'm enjoying every day here, everything that we go through, because this is what matters. Because once we get there and we make it, that's why you see fucking, when fighters win championships, they get on their knees and cry, the most toughest motherfuckers, because this shit, you've been doing it for so many years, and to make it is so fucking difficult.
Right.
To be a world champion is like, man, it's like good luck. Like, are you serious? Like, how? That shit is super difficult, right? So this is the part you have to enjoy, because once you get this, like, damn, we did it.
Right.
We did that, right? It's
even
special.
Even for the young ladies too, what we've seen in boxing is a big ass fucking shift right now.
Yeah.
Women are getting a lot of attention, so I think it's a great time for them. And then one thing about you I love too, man, when I look over at your corner, it's you and your boys.
Yeah, that's right.
And I know you told me before, like, you started off with coaching your boys and things like that, man. But just for people that don't understand, because I don't have that eyesight, explain, like, when you're a coach and you're sitting in the corner, like, how do you divide your attention between watching your fighter and what they're doing and then watching his opponent and trying to figure out what the fuck you guys need to do in order to keep your fighter on point?
Okay, so what I've always done, because for me, being a coach, I take it very serious. So I study a lot. And one thing that I learned is, what a lot of coaches miss is that there's a lot to being a coach, right? First, you have to be able to mentor and inspire the fighter. Okay. That's key, okay? So you have to get good at that. And then you have to be able to have a good relationship with the fighter in and outside of the ring. Because if he wants to be a fucking champion, he better have his shit together outside the ring, right? We're not gonna be wasting time, right? And then you have to know how to teach. Anybody can coach. I've seen coaches have talented fighters, give them water, and just say, use your jab. And the fighters do well until shit gets tough, and then the coach can't bail them out, doesn't have anything for them, right?
You see it all the time.
So what I learned is that you have to be a good teacher, a good mentor, you have to know how to inspire, and you have to be a really good cornerman. So a lot of coaches, they're really good at one piece, but not very good at all of them. Just like a fighter. A fighter might be a very great defensive fighter, but that's it. He's not very, nobody really wants to go watch him because he's more defensive minded. Or some guys are very offensive minded, but they get hit a little bit more because they don't work on defense. So what I learned as a coach, I got to work on all of those. I got to be really good in the corner, relax, know what to say, not to say too much, right? Know my fighter, know when to tell him. Maybe don't tell him too much because he's already getting it. Just say, hey, keep doing what you're doing, keep that rhythm going. Show him a couple feints because I know if I tell him to show him a couple feints, it's gonna get him in rhythm. So I don't gotta tell him all that extra shit. So you learn this through experience, right? And also through learning.
Okay.
Right? So I'm trying to master all of that. So I've sat there and I've watched just my fighter, then I've watched just the opponent that he's sparring against or fighting against, and then I'll watch both throughout the years, right? What I've learned is that if you focus more on what your fighter needs to do and you teach your fighter the different methods of defense, the different methods of offense, right? Then he's gonna be able to adapt more and be able to get out of certain situations because you taught him that. See, a lot of people say, oh, that guy can adapt, he's this and that. Well, his fucking coach never showed him nothing else. How many fighters that are up there that can't even block a right hand, they just know how to keep their feet out the way, but they don't even know how to catch it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about world champions, right? Then the coach is like, keep your hands up. Motherfucker, I've been having my hands right here my whole career and I want me to keep my hands up? No. You have to teach the fighter over and over. Start when you tell him, look, dude, this is not working. Keep that left hand up, give him a whole different look, and start walking him to your right. He better know how to do it. Is he gonna be able to adapt? Of course, because you taught him.
Right.
So that's the thing. If you just focus mainly on your fighter and what he needs to do, you don't have to look too much at the other guy. Because when the other guy's doing certain things, you notice it, and then you let your fighter know what he needs to do, and he can automatically adjust. But I don't look too much at them because I need to make sure my fighter's doing the right things. He needs to be first. He needs to be going up and down. He needs to be popping them feints. As long as we're doing that, we're in control of the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like every athlete, you know, there's nerves involved in it. Does that shit translate into coaching too? When it's time for it's time to make that ring walk, what the fuck is going through your mind at that moment?
100%.
So you guys are up next, right?
Yeah.
Then you hear the call, like, okay, you guys are standing there. Like, what are you thinking when you guys start walking out?
So for me, it's the same thing. Ever since I had my little boys, because you got to remember how I grew up. You know, I grew up in a gang banging environment. I grew up in the '90s. I grew up in Bog Track. It's the southwest part of town. And I got caught up in all that as a young kid. You know, of course, I'm a grown man now. Now we're giving back to the youth and getting them out of that kind of stuff, obviously, right? Thank God that I went through it so that I can relate to these kids. And that's the only reason why they listen and respect me. Irvin wouldn't listen and respect me. Irvin grew up like the way I grew up, but that's why he respects me, because he knows how I grew up. He knows that I'm with it. You know what I mean? Or else he'll be like, coach ain't shit. But he knows the way I grew up. And I know how he grew up. So we have that bond. Because that right there gets us even closer because we've been through some shit, right? So, but that's the thing, like, everybody gets nervous. But you as the leader, you're leading. Your fighter can't see you back there fucking shaking and being nervous. When it comes time to fight, I put my kill or be killed mask on because that's how I grew up out here. So I know that I'm going to go out there and we're going to compete. It's us against you. It's all love, but right now at this moment, fuck everybody over there. Yeah, I'm going to wave and shake hands, but I'm here to beat you. And that's it. That's it. Nothing else gets in between that. So when it's time to go, they see how I turn up. I'm ready to go. I'm right there with the same energy as my fighter. Relax, serious, and focus.
Right.
Every time I check myself and I get myself in that. Now some fools are gonna, I don't get nervous. Stop lying. You see motherfuckers nervous all day long back there, right? Because your fighter's gonna go perform. How the fuck are you not gonna be nervous? You don't want your fighter to lose. You don't want your fighter to get embarrassed. Right. It's gonna affect you as a coach because all your work he's gonna show. So yeah, you get nervous, but you have to know how to keep it in check and you have to be ready. That's why all the work has to be done in the gym.
Dude, when you're sitting there, like Thursday we got weigh-ins and shit. As a coach, when you're sitting there watching the other guy weigh in and you're looking at his body and shit, what are you looking for when you're watching the other fighter? And
you do. You look at all that. Like you look to see did he kill himself to make weight? You know, did he when did we actually call him to make the fight happen? How much time did he have? Like for instance, this kid right here was already getting ready to compete, right? So it's not like we're catching him slipping. He was getting ready to compete on the 5th, right? So we know he's ready.
Oh no, I looked at his fucking box rack. They already have another potential fight in November.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is one of those fucking guys that are just like a lifelong fucking fighter.
Yeah, he's a journeyman. He's gonna go fight. Win or lose, he's gonna show up the next day.
Probably was a fucking cock, a rooster in his fucking past life. That's all this motherfucker know. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at his record. But then, like you said, those fucking guys are dangerous because he ain't afraid to fucking lose. He's going in there to fucking make money and get to his next fucking fight.
Exactly.
But he's also been in there with some fucking superstars too, though.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm looking at this shit for you guys, man. But before we move on into this fucking weekend, what is your prediction for NOA and Fulton tomorrow?
Nobody's beating NOA except us when we get there to him.
Major fucking facts. You heard that?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, but I love how you set that fucking bar way the fuck up there. Like,
we got to iron him.
We'll be in Japan too.
Yeah. We definitely got to iron him since day one. Yeah, but it takes time.
Right.
Irvin's just a baby right now compared to him. But in a couple of years, it'll be a different story.
I got you. And we're going to reference this shit in a couple of years.
Yeah.
we all get to fucking celebrate together on Friday because it's Team Nasty. And like I told y'all before, I'm from Stockton. I always support my hometown. I don't give a fuck who in the ring. Nigga. It's 209 all the time.
That's right.
Dude, then we're all on the fucking couch and we at home on Saturday. You got Crawford and Spence. Bruh. As a coach, like, fuck, I'm a fan of both. And I hate doing that 50-50 shit, but as a coach, tell us.
Okay, so for a long time, before the car accident, thank God that Spence is alive, man. That guy's such inspiration. Like, people just really are sleeping on what he went through already. This motherfucker got character. But anyways, he's a monster. He's somebody to look up to, straight up. I mean, straight the fuck up, what he's been through. Because people don't know all the little things that he goes through and the pain. You think that guy's 100? That guy goes through pain.
Dude,
in that fucking gym. And he fucking got his retina fucked up.
Retina fucked up. And then I just realized in the 24/7, he's wearing dentures and shit. Like he's saying, he has to glue in teeth and shit like that. Like, dude, he flew out of a fucking car.
Yes. So he's a big inspiration. But I always thought that he was going to be too big and strong for Crawford at that time. And then Crawford makes a lot of mistakes as far as he keeps his chin in the air when he throws punches. And when you go fight elite fighters, you don't want to do that. Right? With other guys, and I know he's fought really, really good guys, but with like the elites, things like that are going to get exposed, right? Spence is very, very well trained, okay? As far as fundamentals, distance control, up and down work, pot shots beautiful, breaks you down, and then takes you out. Great training, right? But it's pretty much that, right, is what he does. He doesn't really do too much more than that, right? It works for him. Why does he have to do anything else? It works. Like Triple G, it works, do what you do, right? But and then when you fight certain fighters, you have to show a little bit more, right? So we've seen when he fought Mikey Garcia that he can box and stay on his back foot. Okay, so that was beautiful to watch that day. He probably could have went in there and stopped Mikey, and I love Mikey Garcia, but Mikey was too small.
Right.
But he didn't. He was smart. He was careful for that right hand. He kept distance, and he showed a whole different look. So we know that Spence is a lot smarter as far as being able to adapt than what people think, right? Now, Crawford, beautiful, very skilled, very talented, can adapt, and again, that comes from the training. He's taught a lot of different things. He has like 3 different coaches, so of course he's gonna be able to adapt. He has people teaching him different things, which is very, very good. So you got one guy that can switch and do different things, but then you got another guy that perfected one style. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we're gonna see. Now, this is the thing. This is the way I look at the fight. In order for Crawford to beat Spence, he has to stop Spence. This is the way I see the fight. If not, Spence will outwork him. Spence is a working machine, very consistent, very strong, can take a punch, and can lean on you all night. Crawford is gonna have to keep up with that pace, right? If that happens, 12 rounds for Spence, right? Crawford has to hurt him. That's gonna be difficult to do. But if anybody can do it, it's gonna have to be Crawford because he's the best one right now, right? Crawford's raw. See, the thing about Crawford, he can punch going backwards and punch going forward. A lot of fighters can't do that. He can move his feet while he punches.
Right.
So he can easily be on the southpaw stance. Errol Spence likes to lean over his front foot a lot. He has a camp that's very intelligent. Crawford does. Take a couple of steps back, touch him with the just back, boom, left uppercut, right? Throw enough of those throughout the fight, you might hurt him because he's leaning right into it and he's not going to be able to see that punch. That's going to be your most, that's going to be the punch that can get it done out of all the punches. And he can throw a lot of them, but that punch right there, because he leans over and doesn't see it, and if he takes a step back as he leans, bah, gives him that uppercut from the southpaw stance, it's going to be right there for him, right? So but I'm leaning towards Spence, 12-round decision. And I just barely leaned towards that again because I started going towards Crawford again because Crawford's so skilled and got so much grit. But we haven't seen Crawford on this level. I don't care what nobody says. No. We haven't yet. We've seen Spence fight monsters already.
Yeah.
He hasn't. But he's going to be fine.
And see, and for me, the second fight in that fucking fight is the corner. You got Derek James and you got Bomac. Derek James completely wins that as a coach.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Just because of like the communication I've heard in between rounds and shit.
Bomac is more like simple and real quick. You gotta go get him now. What's him breaks it down exactly what he needs to do. Get behind the jab. Touch him with
man.
This.
And I think at this caliber and this fucking level, you're gonna need more than just that fucking push on the back up off your stool.
Yeah.
Because this is like when I seen Porter and Crawford, I was like, that's fucking greatness. I was watching the feet, I was watching the distance.
Yeah.
You can see thinking in real fucking time.
Yes.
But hey, man, I'm here for motherfucking Toscano this week with Team Nasty.
Woo!
Listen, man, fights are going to be streamed. Fights are going to be live. If you're in Stockton, California, you guys get out. I think there still may be a few tickets available, so you guys get those. If not, I'll put the link to where the fight is going to be streamed. Man, you close us out. What can everybody expect from Team Nasty this week?
Man, just know that we work extremely hard and we take what we do serious. And Irvin's gonna show up to give a fantastic show, and he's gonna win. And a special shout out to Toscano because they worked their ass off to get us this fight. I'm not sure if you guys know, but Irvin was already in 2 training camps before this fight, and we had 2 really good promoters that were trying to help us out, but they just couldn't find nobody for him. Toscano really went out of his way to make this happen, and he always does. And even with Wade. When everybody was in COVID, Wade got like 7 fights in Tijuana. Like, Toscano's the man.
Yeah.
And I want to say that because it's important for a lot of these young fighters coming up to understand that if you want to make it in this business, you're gonna need support. It's very fucking expensive to try to be a fighter. Very expensive. You have to pay for yourself. You have to pay for the opponent. You have to pay for medicals. There's a lot of shit that goes behind it. So it's very important that you get a really good manager or a good team that's gonna actually be able to keep you busy, because a fighter that's not busy is a fighter that ain't gonna go nowhere. If you're stale and you're not fighting, boxing will pass you up like that and it'll be over. So it's very important that you stay consistent in the ring, competing. And thanks to Toscano Promotions, we're going to be able to fight this Friday, and we're super blessed. And we're going to show up and put a beautiful, phenomenal show for you guys. Shout out to all of Stockton, the whole 209, for all the support, all the love. We appreciate all you guys.
That's what's up. All right, Coach, man. We love. I'll see you guys Thursday at weigh-ins. All right, man.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Shout out.
Good shit, huh?